This is the Virtual CISO, and I can't wait to begin. Welcome back to the Virtual CISO, where we explore how security leaders build trust in an increasingly complex world. And first, thank you to everyone who listened to the previous seasons. Over the last few years, we've gone through a lot of foundational security and compliance conversations. We've talked about cloud security, compliance strategy, architecture, governance, operational maturity, and how organizations can build security programs that are actually sustainable. But this season is going to be different because the industry itself is changing, and honestly, it's changing faster than a lot of organizations are prepared for. We are entering a phase where AI, identity, and trust are starting to completely reshape what enterprise security actually look like. The traditional perimeter is basically gone now. Employees are everywhere, applications are everywhere, infrastructure are ephemeral, developers are deploying constantly, AI systems are starting to interact with enterprise data. Also, identities, both human and machine, are becoming the center of almost every security decision. So for season 4, I want to explore what modern security leadership looks like in that reality, not from a tooling perspective, but from an architectural, operational, and strategic perspective. Because I genuinely think that a lot of organizations are still trying to solve modern problems with assumptions that belong to a completely different era. And that's what I want to unpack in this season. So let's start with the perimeter. For years, enterprise security was built around the idea of a boundary. You had corporate offices, internal applications, managed laptops, VPN, firewalls, and security programs that were designed around protecting that network edge. The assumption was if you were inside the environment, you were probably trusted. But that assumption doesn't really hold anymore. Cloud has changed that. SaaS changed that. Remote work accelerated it. And now AI is magnifying it even further. Today, most enterprise environments are incredibly distributed. You have multiple cloud providers, hundreds of SaaS integrations, third-party vendors, APIs, automation pipeline, machine identities, contractors, remote employees. And honestly, in a lot of environments, organizations don't even fully know what's connected anymore. That's the reality. And because of that, the problem is no longer just, how do we stop attackers getting in? The question is now, who has access? What has access? Why does access exist? And should it still exist? That's a completely different security challenge. And when you look at many of the major incidents we've seen over the past few years, a lot of them weren't really perimeter failures. They were identity failures, compromised credentials, overprivileged accounts, weak authentications. You have exposed tokens, third-party access, misconfigured trust relationship. That's where attackers are now focusing now. Because once identity is compromised, a lot of traditional controls become far less effective. And this is why I think organizations need to stop treating identity as just an IT function. Identity is now core security infrastructure. It determines access, privilege, trust, exposure, and increasingly, it determines how AI systems interact with enterprise data as well. This naturally leads into trust, because historically, most enterprise environments operated on implicit trust. A user logs in once, they stay trusted. A workload exists internally, it's trusted. Traffic originates from the corporate environment, it's trusted. But modern environments are too dynamic for that model. Trust now has to become contextual and, most importantly, continuously validated. This is where concepts like zero trust comes in. And honestly, I think zero trust has become one of the most overused phrases in cybersecurity. Sometimes people talk about it like it's a product you can buy, but really it's a mindset shift. It's recognizing that no identity, device, workload, or connection should automatically be trusted forever. Access decisions need context. Who is the user? What device are they using? Where are they connecting from? What are they trying to access? Does the behavior look normal? And the organizations that are going to mature fastest over the next few years are the ones that become very good at contextual trust enforcement, not static security policies. Because modern environments are messy, legacy systems still exist. Developers need speed. Business teams, they want low friction. Security teams are already overwhelmed. So the goal isn't creating friction everywhere. The goal is building intelligent trust boundaries. That is the real challenge. Another thing I think security leaders are struggling with right now is the sheer pressure around AI adoption. Board are asking about AI strategy. Executives want AI-enabled efficiency. Investors are asking how organizations are modernizing. Employees are already experimenting with AI tools. There is a growing pressure to move quickly, and security teams are being asked to support that transformation while still managing risk. At the same time, most security teams are already stretched thin. There is a lot of fatigue, tool sprawl, hiring challenges, burnout, budget scrutiny, increasing compliance obligations, and despite all of that, expectations around security maturity keep increasing. Security teams today are expected to enable the business, support innovation, reduce risk, manage compliance, secure AI adoption, and still operate efficiently with limited resources. That's a difficult balance, which is why I think organizations need to become more intentional about where they spend security efforts, because adding more tools without solving architectural problems just creates more operational complexity. And a lot of organizations are already drowning in vendor sprawl. 10 different dashboards, 5 overlapping products, disconnected telemetry, fragmented identity controls. At some point, complexity itself becomes a security risk. And I think the strongest security programs over the next few years will not necessarily be the ones with the most tools. They will be the ones with the clearest architecture, strongest identity foundations, and best operational visibility. Now, let's talk specifically about AI. Let's talk about AI because I think a lot of organizations still see AI as primarily a productivity conversation, but not from a security perspective. AI is going to reshape identity, trust, and data exposure all at the same time. And I don't think most organizations are fully prepared for that yet. Right now, companies are moving in one of two directions. It's either they're adopting AI extremely quickly without enough governance, or they're trying to block everything because they're uncomfortable with the risk. And neither approach is really sustainable because AI adoption is already happening. Employees are using it. Developers are integrating it. Executives want AI strategies. Business teams want automation. The bigger question is whether organizations are implementing AI with visibility and governance or without it. And one of the most important things security leaders need to understand is this. At some point, AI systems stop being passive tools. They start becoming operational actors. They start accessing data, interacting with systems, calling APIs, triggering workflows, making decisions, and once that starts happening, AI systems effectively become identities, which means they need governance. They need least privilege, monitoring, logging, segmentation, access reviews, and behavior analysis. Because if organizations don't establish those controls early, they're trying to create entirely new trust problem at enterprise scale. And I think that's one of the biggest security conversations for the next few years, because increasingly, trust itself is becoming a business differentiator. Customers want to know that the data is protected. Partners want assurance around AI usage. Regulators want visibility. Boards want confidence. And the organizations that can demonstrate mature governance, responsible AI adoption, and strong security architecture are the ones that are going to have a significant advantage, not just from a security perspective, but from a business perspective as well. So when I look at where the industry is heading, I think we're moving into a very different era of security. The perimeter is no longer the center of the conversation. Identity is. Trust is becoming dynamic, and AI is accelerating enterprise change faster than many governance models can keep up with. But honestly, I also think that this creates a huge opportunity for security leaders, an opportunity to rethink how we design environments from the beginning. Not just adding more controls, but building systems that are resilient by design, more observable, more identity aware, more adaptable, and better aligned with how modern enterprise actually operates. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this season. We're going to talk about AI governance, machine identity security, zero trust in practice, cloud-native trust models, third-party ecosystem risk, security architecture strategy, and how security leadership itself needs to evolve in an AI-driven world. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you follow the podcast and stay tuned for the next episode. This has been the Virtual CISO. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you follow us and share it with someone who might find it valuable. And as always, I'd love to hear your perspective. You can connect to me on LinkedIn. The link is in the description, where I'll be sharing additional thoughts and continuing the conversation. Because security isn't just about protecting systems, it's about creating confidence. I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. I am your host, Olivia.